Welcome back to PSC's Tech Byte. This is yet another episode about how you can leverage the Microsoft Teams Toolkit to create professional solutions. And specifically today, we are going to see how we can create a Teams personal tab looking like a dashboard made of widgets. In Teams Toolkit, you can get the scaffolding of all of the code base that you will need to do that, and you can only focus on creating your own widgets. So, like always, let me move to the demo environment and let me show you how to do that in practice. So, here we are in Visual Studio Code and we have the Teams Toolkit ready to go. We select to create a new application which will be of type tab and specifically of type dashboard. It will be based on TypeScript and it will be stored on a local folder. The name could be PTB My Dashboard, just for the sake of giving it a name. And here we have the scaffolded solution. Like always, when we use the Teams Toolkit, we have in the app package folder the manifest for Teams, and in that one we have a statics tab section where we have the configuration of our dashboard. Then we have the environment settings as well as the infrastructure deployment scripts with bicep deployment of all of the Azure resources. And then in the source folder we have all of the scaffolding source code. Specifically, we have in the index.tsx a reference to the application. The application itself, based on the routes provided, will render one of the available controls, and actually the dashboard will be based on the sample dashboard TSX component that we have right here. In this one, right now we have the rendering of two widgets, the list and the chart one, which are the ones you can see in this preview in the README file. Then every single widget is based on a model for data, on a service to get data, and on the widget definition itself, and on a CSS file for the style to render the actual output of the widget. So let's say that we want to create a third widget so that we can customize our solution. First of all, we need to define the data model that we want to use in our widget. So let's say that we want to create a widget to manage a set of orders. We can create a new TSS file, called orderModel.ts, and in this file we can define how an order will look like. In my example, an order will be made of an ID, a description, a customer, and a price. Once we have the data model, we can then create a service. So the service will be defined under the services folder, and it will be the file called ordersService.ts. In this file, we are going to provide the actual implementation to render a list of orders, and so to retrieve a list of orders that we want to render. So we have a getOrders method which will return an array of order model instances that we just defined, and every single order will be made of these fake and random properties. So now we have the data model and we have the service providing data. We are now ready to create the widget itself. So let me go to the widgets folder and let me add a new file right here. This will be called orders widget, or whatever you like, .tsx. And in this one, let me paste some ready-to-go code and let me explain you what I'm going to do. First of all, we have the import of some items from the Fluent UI React components. Then we also have the import of our order model and of the getOrders method so that we can retrieve the orders from our service. Plus we have a couple of icons that we use in the rendering. And then we have the state of the widget itself, which will be made of a property called orders, which can be nullable, and which will be an array of order model instances. In the order widget definition itself that we export as the default class for this type, we have the inheritance of the base widget without any custom properties, but with a custom state, which is the one we have just defined right here. Then in the getData method override of the base widget, we rely on the getOrders method to set the state of our widget with the result of the getOrders method. Indeed, in a real solution, in the getOrders method, you will, for example, query an external service or Microsoft Graph or whatever else. Then we can override the header, and when we override the header method, we simply need to return the output of the header for our widget. So this, in this scenario, it will be made by an icon, a text, and the button icon itself that will show the more items, so the 3 dots that you see right here in the rendering of the UI. And we can call this widget, for example, my orders. Then we have the rendering of the body. In the body, we need to provide the actual content that we want to see in the list of orders. And in my scenario, in the list of orders, I want to render a table of orders where every single order will be highlighted with an order ID and then with the description, the customer and the price properly formatted in EN/US as a currency in US dollars. So by doing that, we will render a list of orders. And then in the footer, we don't want to render anything, so we return undefined. So we override that method too, and we return just undefined to not render anything in the output. So now we are ready to configure the style and the rendering of our orders widget. So we can go under the styles folder and we can create yet another file, which will be orders widget.css, and in this file I'm going to define how the body of the orders list will look like and how the single properties of the order, so the order ID, description, customer and price, will look like. And here you can play with whatever CSS style you like. So once you have done that, you can save all of your files. Let's do that, and we can then reference the orders widget inside the sample dashboard. So we simply need to say that we want to import the orders widget from the orders widget file, and then we say that beside the list and the chart, we also want to render our orders widget component inside the rendering of the dashboard itself. So I'm now ready to run my solution. I can simply press F5 and see the deployment, first of all the import of the packages, then the build and then the deployment in Teams of my custom developed dashboard. It will take a while, so I will fade out and fade in once the application is ready in Microsoft Teams. And here we are, the solution is now running in the browser. I need to authenticate to my target tenant. I will need to add my solution to the list of applications for Microsoft Teams. So I will be brought, like always when we use the Teams Toolkit, to the list of the apps in my Teams tenant. I will have to add my application to the target tenant. Here we are, let me add it. And I will be able to see how it behaves in the UI. Here we are. This is my dashboard. We have the out-of-the-box list of items, we have the out-of-the-box chart, and we also have the customized list of my orders with all of the items rendered accordingly to the output that I defined in my TXX component for my widget. So, hypothetically, you can create your own dashboard, creating your own widgets. You can get rid of the out-of-the-box ones, and you can build really nice looking and professional looking UI components for Microsoft Teams. Like always, thank you for watching this video. I hope you found it interesting, and I'm really looking forward to seeing you next week. Thank you.